Hello everyone, my name is Chris. I am the Man Collects. Thank you for joining me here for this video review on YouTube. If you do end up enjoying this video, do me a favor and hit the like button. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing to the Man Collects, turning on the bell for notifications, follow me on Instagram, all that wonderful stuff us YouTubers say. But with all those pleasantries aside, let's get into the main event of the evening. We are here to look at a couple of figures from the new wave of the Turtles of Grayskull line. We're going to be looking at Donatello, and we're going to be looking at Rattlor. Now, the new wave consists of the figures you see there. We've got Donatello, Raphael, Mechanic, and Rattlor. I did not pick up the entire wave, only these two. But we're going to open these things up. We're going to see what they're all about. I did find these at Walmart, a store here in Tennessee. They were $19.97 plus tax retail. But with all that, guys, let's get these things repositioned here, get the camera fixed around, and let's take a look at them. All right, and here we go. We got a position side by side. Got some glare going on here. We'll move these cards around in a second to get a better look at these things. But let's start out with Rattlor. Take a look at the packaging. Let's get the glare off of him there. You can see the card art on these things, I think, look pretty good for this wave. This is what? The Reptile Wars, or what they're calling this one. But take a look at Rattlor there in the package. Awesome looking figure. In my personal opinion, this is the best looking figure of the wave. One thing right off the bat, I will give Mattel, who's the manufacturer that makes these, give this some kudos for. Check out the card stock on this, guys. If anyone collects this wave or collects figures of this scale from Mattel, you know they've always used those flimsy card backs. Well, if you're an inbox person, it drives you nuts because it's hard to find a card in good shape. They're usually bent, wrinkled, and tore all to pieces, but they're now using this thicker card on there, so you will have a little bit better, displayability if you do keep these things on card. Because I will say, once again, as far as card art, again, check that out. Awesome card art on this figure. But down here you got your Motu logo, got your Ninja Turtle logo, and as you can see with the light, they've got like a little reptile scale design here embossed on the front of the packaging of this wave. I thought that was a very nice touch, and it does go all the way around to the sides of the package. On the back, you got your standard stuff back here. You got your art up here for the character that you got in the figure line. This one's got Rattlor on there. Looks like he's fighting the Motu version, possibly of Clamp Champ. Not for sure about that. And here you got your wave again. You got Donatello, who we're going to look at here in a second. You got Raphael, Mechanic, and then you've got Rattlor. You got a little paragraph there you can read about. Legal mumbo jumbo down here at the bottom. And then your barcode, which I will freeze on there for a second, just in case you need to take a screenshot to try to scan and find it at your store. But that is Rattlor in package. Now let's take a look at our friend Donatello. Once again, your card art is the same. The only thing that changes here is the name. This is Snake Hunting Tech Head. What did Rattlor say? I didn't even look at his. We got Mutated Snake Men Creature. Oh, all kinds of good little titles on there for him. Guys, everything's the same on the front of the card here as far as we looked at on Rattlor for Donnie. There's a better look at the figure, which we'll get him out of the package here in a second. And then on the back, you got your card art here. You've got Donatello fighting Shredder. Now, this version of Shredder I know was up for pre-order on Walmart's website here a while back, so we should be seeing that pretty soon. But as far as everything else, it's the same as Rattlor. We're not going to take time to look at that again. And once again, they're on the better card stock. Now, the ones I got do have some dings and stuff on them. I mean, still, you're not going to find a perfect card most of the time in retail anyways, where they beat them up. But, we're going to open these things up, so the card condition really doesn't matter. So let's do that now. Let's get them out of package, take a look. We'll start with Donnie, and then we'll do Rattlor second. So let's get them opened up and see what they're all about. Alrighty, Donnie has broken out of the shell, if you will. He is out of the plastic packaging on the card there. Let's take a look at the figure and the accessories. We're going to start with the accessories first, and let's take a look at the little comic. All the Motu Turtles of Grayskull figures that came with a mini comic. Now, I think some of them before, I haven't really looked at these, to be honest with you, when the figures that I bought. I kept them, I just don't really look at them that much, but I think it was the same comic for each figure. This one is Reptile Wars Part 1, Snake in the Shadows. And looking over here at the Rattlor packaging, I think the same book does come with Rattlor, but you get these little illustrated little comics here that come with these, so that's pretty sweet. I'm assuming if it is the same comic with all of them this wave. The next wave of these and the next figures in these will have part 2 or whatever parts are going to be of it. But yep, there's your little comic that comes with it. So let's lay that to the side. And let's take a look at our accessories that come with Donnie. Number one, his bow staff. Now you got these ends on here. You can see what they look like. Very nicely detailed, I think. Cool looking little bow staff ends. They do slide off very easily off of the bow staff, or if you did want to have it just as the plain standalone weapon, you can do that. If I can get to zoom in, there you go. You can see the detailing on the bow staff. Now, one thing with this one, I don't know if you can really tell on camera, mine has a slight bow to it right in here where it was bent in the packaging. So I'm going to have to try to straighten that out. But one thing, kudos to Mattel, they do hard plastic weapons on these things. They're not the soft rubber like you have with McFarlane or some of the weapons that come with GIJoe. So I should be able to stretch that out of there and flex it back. And it should stay where it is, a stiffer plastic. But to put these things back on, again, you got a hole there on the bottom of them. You can see this the peg there on the end of the bow staff. You just push them in down to this little guard, and they go on like so. And then this one comes loose in the packaging. You just slide it on the other end, same way. There's your standard bow staff, but not only does it have this, there's more. You've got these little flame effects you can put on it for some cool little effects if you do some poses and stuff with him. To attach these, you can see you've got 2 C-clamps there on it. You got a big one and a small one. You got the little nodule up here is where the small one's going to clip on. The bigger one here is going to go across the fatter little slot there on the bow staff. And to get them in there, there you go. You just snap them on like that. And then our other one, for craps and giggles, let's just go ahead. Let's just put it on there. Why don't we? There we go. Now that look cool, we got a flaming ends on the bow staff there for Donatello. Cool looking weapon. We'll take a look at that a little bit more here in a minute, but now let's go to the main event. Let's check out the figure. Here we go, guys. We've got Turtles of Grayskull, Donnie. Now, number one, the thing I like the most about Masterverse figures, about anything to do with Motu, I love the use of the flat paints. You don't have shiny, glossy stuff on these figures. You got flat green paints here, a little bit of metallic shine to like these pads and the armor on there, but nothing too reflective, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It's kind of a dulled finish. Now, I think this figure looks great. You got the deep purple on there. It's very, Donatello's got the reminiscent of the purple colors. So that is sweet coloring on that thing. You can see there the detailing on the face mask and all of that. And then going down to his little turtley feet, he's got his wraps around his feet. And of course, he's going around barefooted. Side profile of him, you've got him there. He's got a little shoulder pad going on here. Of course, you can see he's got his arm goblets. And then to the back. Now, one thing with these, you can tell that they just snap on, but still, he's supposed to be like a warrior or whatever. I don't know if armor just slid over your calves back in the day, so it'd been nice if it had a connecting piece or something back here, but again, it is what it is. It's just a toy. But there is your other side. He's got a little different shoulder pad on this side, and so on and so forth. Now, with Turtles of Grayskull figures, one feature, all the ones I have gotten so far, the shell, it does come off. So if you don't want to have to use a shell to pose it, you don't have to have the shell back there. And all it does, you got 2 studs there you can see on the inside of the shell. You got 2 holes here on the back. Oh, should use that finger. Didn't mean to flip you off. So all you gotta do is line them back up, and there you go. Your shell's right back on. I guess you want to do certain poses. It'd be cool if that thing was out of the way. But before we get into much farther, let's take a look at articulation on Donatello. You do have a wrist ball joint there, so the hand fist does go all the way around. No extra hands with this one. You get 2 weapons hands with him here, so no closed fist or anything like that. Actually, I'm not aware of any of these figures coming with extra hands. You can see here you got a hinge joint there in the wrist, so you can draw the wrist in like that. You get some cool poses with the weapon, and it will flex out, all the way down there to do like that. So if he was Spider-Man, you get a cool little thwip pose out of him there. These are loose on his wrist, so if you want to take these off, you can. You just pop that hand off there. That'll slide right off, but I like them on mine, so we're going to leave it on there. I would assume you could take these off too, because they move all the way around. You're just going to have to probably heat them maybe a little bit to get them a little more flexible. I don't know if I would just pull them straight down, because Donnie's been going, he ain't been skipping arm day, folks. Look at that bicep. You don't want to risk stretching this thing out or putting some like little white stress marks on there, trying to slide it off his arms. I'd probably heat it a little bit, but it does feel like it would slide down through there pretty easily, and then you can take it off his arm. But again, I like that. I'm leaving it on mine. The chest harness here feels loose as well. You can see here on the back, it comes apart. So you'll be able to slide this thing off if you wanted to. So right there is where it unbuckles to take it off Donatello if you didn't want him to have all this rigmarole on him. And now that I've taken that loose, it's probably going to be a pain in the butt to get it hinged back. We'll do that later. I am going to leave the shell off for a little bit too, so we can take a look at the rest of the figure. All right, your elbow articulation. He goes up about that far. Let me pop his shoulder out so you can see. It'll straighten all the way back out. No backwards mobility as far as bending, hyperextending, which I don't know why you would need to do that. But as far as his shoulder joint, you can see they go out straight there. He'll go all the way back down, and his arm will do a complete 360 if you want it to. Shoulder articulation on the other is the same way, but you are limited a little bit because, as you can see, that's whacking them right in the head there, so you can't take it too far. Arm articulation over here is the exact same. Again, all these accessories you can remove if you did choose to. As far as your waist, it is on a little hinge or ball joint there, so it will slide all the way around there. Not any ab crunch. You can crunch him a little tiny bit, and then as far as leaning him back, oh crap, it just came apart. There we go, put him back together. Anyways, again, not much there in the joints as far as making him rock back or rock forward. Now, this enormous head garb he's got on, and again, all of this will come off. That will slide off his head actually quite easily if you pull it up and off there. Let's just do that. I'm stripping him naked here. And then this thing, you have to pop his head off to take that off. And then you can fix his bandana back there in the back to lay down. But let's just pop his head off and take this little garb off and show that. It'll make it easier to show the head articulation. So there's the mouth guard. We'll take that off. And then we'll pop his head back on. I got it. Okay, guys, look at this. Check out his facial expression. Does that not kind of look like Donatello from the first Turtle movie? The way the mouth is, kind of like the Corey Feldman version of it. That's pretty sweet. As far as head articulation without the mask, you can see there, he actually looks up pretty decently. And as far as looking down, he'll go down about that far, to look down with his little head articulation with that. And of course, on a ball joint, the head will go all the way around. And you can fix the bandana tie back there every how you want it to. If you want it blowing in the wind with a cool side look, hanging straight down, or if he's jumping down into action, you might have it up like that, like it's blowing up in the back. But I'm probably going to leave some of the head garb off. I might put the scarf back on him. All right, there we go. I got the headpiece back on him. I don't know. I think it looks, well, that doesn't look too bad, I don't guess. And in the back, this thing is perforated right here, or got a slot where you can slide down over that knot, and it kind of goes back together. So I wouldn't mess with this too much. I'd be afraid to get that piece bent out. It's not going to fit on his head too good, but I kind of like the looks of that. I don't know. The mouth guard, I don't know about the mouth guard. It does look cool, but I kind of like the look of the exposed mouth better, especially seeing, I mean, to me, I'm sorry, maybe it's be me. That looks like the turtle face he had in the 1980s Turtles movie there, the live action movie. But that's all the mobility you got in the upper torso. So let's move his arms up here and get him out of the way. And let's take a look at the legs. Can he do a Van Damme split? Almost. He can almost get there. He's not quite limber like Jean-Claude, but these things, the hinge joints and ball joints, they're on down here. These things on his legs are annoying, guys, I gotta say. But as far as kicking out, he can kick up, about that far from the bottom of his foot and go up. So you can get some pretty good kicking motion with him. As far as that, you do have an articulation there where the cab will turn all the way around at the knee. You can turn the lower part of the leg. Not anything really up here as far as a thigh cut, so you can't do much twisting on that. His knee joint will go back about that far, and then it locks forward, doesn't hyperextend any. As far as how far his leg will go back, straight back, he goes back about that far. Going straight forward, it goes up and to the side about that much. Not a super amount of articulation, but again, you don't really need all that. All right, as far as what I think is the most annoying feature of this figure, these things. I don't like these. I'm probably going to leave these off. Again, they pop off very easily when you're trying to pose them. I don't know how many times I've had to stop this camera and readjust because these things keep coming off. His feet down here, they're on little rockers here where you can, I don't know why you'd want to, you can turn his feet all the way around. They do have a hinge joint there where you can move them. As far as going back, they can go back about that far. So you can get some pretty cool poses with them, doing some kicks there with his feet hyperextended, or like he's smacking somebody with his foot. So that's pretty sweet. As far as standability, if they will stand up well, let's move the accessories out. I know you can't see too good the overhead camera, but there you go. So he does stand pretty good. I'll get my steady cam or my handheld camera out here at the end, and I'll do some pictures with him like this at the end of the video. But as far as this one, guys, pretty solid figure. Oh, one more thing I forgot. He does have a slot here on the back of his shell where you can take the bow staff. You just have to pop one of the ends off if you want to pose it with the bow staff threaded through the thing. Now, this is very stiff to get this through there, so be careful that you don't force it too hard. You might break the bow staff, but once you get it in there, it actually holds it in position pretty well. It will pivot back and forth if you got it in there, but as far as it's sliding out, it does not move up and down at all unless you grab it and move it once it's in the back of the thing. And then, of course, once you get it on there, let's pop that in back on if you want to have him pose with his weapon there in his back. But, yep, that is our Donnie figure, guys. I want to turn the camera off. We're going to get Rattlor over here. I'm going to put his face mask back on him so I don't lose the freaking thing. And then we'll take a look at Rattlor. And here we have a Rattlor out of the package. Now, first thing we're going to take a look at, this is the same comic that did come with Donnie. So I don't know about the other two figures in this way, but as far as Rattlor and Donnie, they both did come with Reptile Wars Part 1, Snake in the Shadows. So we're going to lay that over here to the side since it's the same thing that we already looked at. Now, you have your Rattlor figure here. You have these two pieces here. What is that for? That is to extend, to make his a big, tall-looking snake neck there. So all you got to do, guys, once you get these, is get these things figured out which is which here and get them stacked on top of each other. And then put that together. His head actually took it out of the package. I don't know if I showed it in the video. It was already loose in the thing. It comes off that little ball joint very easily. That also comes off. If you want to take it off, you can take this stuff off of him, whatever you want to remove on the figure. But once we get that off there, let's go ahead and take and pop the head on there. There we go. One thing that's cool, he's got a hinged jaw. I'll take a look at that a little bit more here in a minute. But once we got all that, we'll just take this and let's just get this put on here. This figure. And we're back, and it is connected now. I said all my cuss words I wanted to say and all that good stuff. Now we're back here to get this looked at. Now, as looks-wise, it's hard to get me zoom the camera out a little bit since it's got this huge neck now. There we go. Looks wise, the figure looks amazing. Only thing I will say, guys, it's not hard to get on there. This is a little bit of annoying to get attached because of this little guard. I almost left it off, but I do like the looks where it's like the big snake head things coming up out of the mouth. It does look awesome. You got some good articulation, this thing in the upper part of the head there when you get it on. But the most annoying thing about this figure are these little flipping things right here. If you look at this figure the wrong way, these things pop off. So if you try to do a lot of fig photography or something with this one, just be prepared. You're going to have to fight a lot with these. They twist their way off and pop off. See, just like that. It keeps jumping off in my hand very easily, and that is frustrating. But anyways, cool looking figure. Before we get too far, we'll start with the head up here. One thing that is cool with this, you do have an articulated jaw, and this thing is so translucent, it's kind of hard to see. But as you can see there, you can open and close the jaw. That is pretty sweet. As far as the range of motion of the snake head, it will look almost all the way up there. You got good range of motion moving it up. As far as down, it goes down about that far, kind of straight ahead, but you can tilt all of this down to give it a little bit more of a downward tilt. And as far as taking this backward, you can take it up about like that. Now this piece hits the back of the guard, so it doesn't go up as far. So that right there does extend back a little bit farther. And then once again, you got that head, so he can really look up is one thing with this figure. But this will, of course, go all the way around. This will twist all the way around on that. You got a lot of different things you can do here with this head, with this big extendable piece on there. But moving down to the rest of the figure, look at the coloring and stuff and the paint apps on this guy. Just like Donnie, sweet looking paint apps. Love the translucent pieces. I don't know how it's going to come through on camera, but the way the light's hitting this, looking through my viewfinder, this looks really cool on camera. But this is pretty sweet here. You can see the detailing on the side there with all the scalings and stuff like that on him. And then on the back, the same way. You have a thing back here for an attachment, but as far as anything else, he didn't come with anything else. I don't really know what that is for, unless I missed something in the packaging, which I did not. I guess that's just to put other accessories on. We can probably put Donnie's turtle shell back there, if we wanted to. And there's the other side of him, down to his legs. We'll take a look at in a minute. He's got his little snake skin tail back here. That thing's pretty loose plastic, easy to move around, so it's not going to have to worry about it even being hard to pose him or anything. That will fold up pretty easy if you do some different poses with him. You can see here the detailing on the legs, almost the blue translucent colors there on his legs. It shines like it is. It looks like wet snake scales. They did very, very good on this, guys. All right, articulation. These are probably going to pop off on me several times through this, but I want to try to move him around without popping those things off. As far as his arms, they do go up about that far before they lock into place in your shoulder joints. He can do about like that. That's actually a pretty cool looking pose, that thing. Turn the head straight up, open the mouth. Anywho, you can do that. The shoulders, they do. You can move the arm all the way around there in a 360 if you needed to. As far as down to the sides, they go down about that far. He does have the same kind of mobility Donatello had there in the elbow. It'll bend up. Let's get the arm bent up there so you can tell. See, there we go. Let's take that off. There we go. Let's just lay that over there before I get mad and say a bad word. Elbow will go about that far. As far as taking it out, you can take it back out to there. There is no hyperextension. He does have a articulation there in his wrist. As you can see, there's a hinge in there. It will let it go up about that far, and going back, he doesn't go back as far as Donnie. He goes back to about right there, and you can turn that hand 360 in that, and you can also turn the forearm a 360 as well for any poses you might want to do involving that. Let's just take this one off too, because they're going to make me aggravated. And same articulation over here, guys. You got the same thing there on his wrist. We're going to bend up with the hinge, and so on and so forth. Now, he's got stuff in him that rattles. I assume he's Rattlor. Okay, I put him beside the microphone. Hopefully you can hear that. But again, I'm assuming it's supposed to be like that. Hopefully I don't have a defective figure here. But coming down here on his feet, you got your range of motion on his legs. I mean, they feel like they should go farther than that, but I can't get him to go any farther than that. I don't want to force it. It is a brand new figure out of package. I don't want to break the legs off. But as far as I can get the legs to go out to the side, his knees will bend about the same as Donatello's, back about that far, and then back down to straight. His feet will rock up about that far. They will rock back about like that, but they go a little bit farther there, getting a little bit more worked out. You can see there how they do, about the same as Donatello's. And then, of course, you can twist these, and there is a swivel here in the mid-calf, just like with the other figures in these ways, and in the knee twist as well. So you got some good articulation down here in the legs. All right, the one thing I'm curious with him, where he has the upper body here is pretty good size. You got little stubby legs, plus you have this enormous protrusion here for his neck. How will he stand up? Let's just see right here together. Okay. Nope, there he goes. Let's see how far back I got to get him to stand here. Let's twist his feet a little bit. We'll do this together. This might be the most boring part of the video. I don't know, but if he doesn't stand up, that's a big negative for me. Oh, God, this one's going to be awkward to get to stand, I can tell you that. There we go. Is he going to stay? Is he going to stay? Nope, there he goes. That is going to be a challenge with this figure. This up here is really going to cause him to be off balance. It's going to be in these small legs. It's going to be hard to get him to stand up, guys. I think if you try to put him on a shelf freestanding, you may have to use a stand or something with him, a figure base. I don't know. I want to keep fitting. Okay, we got it? Nope, now he's going backwards. All right, so standing this thing, I'll have to work with him, see if we can get him to stand up. We'll try that some here at the end of the video. But as far as all of your articulations and stuff, you're taking a look at that. As far as removable things with him, you notice I took the little goblets off his wrist. They're laying over here to the side. You can take off everything here on the back. This thing will pop off of him. You just got to take the head sculpt off here. This will slide right up over there. You can take all that off of him if you need to. Again, you can take this piece off as well if you don't want to have that on there. As far as the figure, I do like the looks of it. I am kind of bummed that I can't get this one to stand up. Well, there we go. Did I get him? Okay, we've got him. He is standing. Yes, we got him to stand up. That is awesome. Okay, I'm happier with it now, guys. Feeling a little bit better. I will say, out of package, I'm not as impressed with this one as I thought I would be. He was my favorite looks-wise, but I gotta say, as far as, being able to do more with him, I think you're going to be able to do more with the turtles. But again, you can also move this stuff around. You can move the arms around and position them and find ways to counterbalance and hopefully get him to stand in some pretty cool poses. Or they make all kinds of good figure stands, because you do have peg holes there. I don't know how good you can see them with the translucent, but you do have peg holes there in the bottom of the feet where you can use figure stands with him. But that is our Rattlor, guys. We're going to switch now to my handheld camera, and we're going to get some look at these things on my little spinny platform, if I can get him to stand up, so you can get some views without me holding him, my hands out of the way. So let's turn this camera off, let's get him set back up, and let's take a look at that. Here we go, guys. Last part of the video, we're going to take a look at these figures here at the front forward, so you don't have to try to look at the overhead camera. But we're now using my iPhone, when I say my mobile camera, with a little movable base, so I can pick them up, and we'll take a look here in a minute. I'll try to be as steady-handed as I can be. But we got Donnie loaded up here on the spinny go-around. Let's get him going and get a 360 look at Donatello. Now, one good thing about him, when you have the bow staff in the back holster there, it does give you something like right here as touching the ground to help you get him to stand up, to kind of balance him there. I gotta say, guys, out of these two, this one is most definitely my favorite, and it's kind of a shock to me. I really thought I would like Rattlor better than Donnie, but I gotta say, this thing looks sweet. You can see it there doing the slow spin, coming back around. Let's get the camera a little bit closer to him here. Check out the head sculpt and stuff when it comes around. It's just an awesome looking figure. Look at the detailing on the hood. Looks like, I guess, turtle eyes, snake eyes, whatever you want to say. This is the Reptile Wars. You can see the detailing there on his weapon, the detailing on the shell. Just an awesome looking figure from Mattel for the Turtles of Grayskull line. Now, the negatives with this figure, the only thing I will say is kind of a negative on this one. I don't know about the hood. It's a little bit big to pose him if you do take that mouth guard off. And then those purple knee pads there, those things are a pain in the you know what if you try to pose and move the figure around because they do pop off his calves quite easily. But it's not too bad. If you're careful with the figure, you won't have any problems with it. All in all, this figure is solid. I would highly recommend it. We'll let him come around here one more time to look at him, and then we'll switch over and take a look at Rattlor if I can get Rattlor to balance on this little spinny go-around. There we go. Let's look him in the eyes and all right, let's go look at Rattlor, guys. Give me just a second. Here we go, guys. We got Rattlor up here. Now, I'm going to be honest. You can tell by looking at the figure here, I have made some adjustments. Looking over to this side here, I did take off one of the neck pieces. I took these off for the rest of this review. I gotta say, guys, love the figure, the way it looks in package, but some of the accessories of him are just too annoying. And when you put both pieces of the neck on there, he really gets hard to stand. His feet are kind of hard to get to go flat. They're not really big enough to support weight of his upper torso here, where he's a little bit bigger. And then you put that big tall head on there, it makes it harder to keep this figure balanced where he will stand up. I've been messing around with him for quite a while off camera. Honestly, it still looks cool to me. You got the extended neck come out of there. It's a lot easier to balance him as far as my experience with only one neck piece on there versus two. Again, using the handheld camera here, trying to keep it steady. Let's get him spinning around, take a look at him. The head sculpt there, again, the head sculpt does look awesome on that with that kind of pink translucent snake head. And then again, the thing that makes the head sculpt as cool to me, you got the hinge jaw there you can open and close. But let's get him spinning around here, if I can do it without knocking the figure off. There we go. We'll take a look at the work on the body of him first. I mean, again, look at the colors on it. The figure looks awesome. I hate to sit here and sound like I'm being negative about it. I mean, the things that are wrong with him, in my opinion, are minuscule. Standing is the biggest thing, guys. Again, when I've got both of these pieces on the neck stud, trying to get it to balance like that for me was a challenge. You may get yours. You may have no issue with it at all, and I hope you don't. Hopefully, it's just me and my lack of skill with these things. The little arm goblets as well, they do look cool when they're on him. If I get him posed on a shelf, I'll probably put him on there, but messing with him, they pop off very easy here trying to show him on the channel or show him for the review. But again, taking a look just at the colors and the aesthetics, awesome looking figure as he moves around there for us to check him out. And again, I like the green there on the belt with the snake. That really stands out when the figure goes around here. And really like how they did with like the snake skin cape going up to the open snake mouth where the neck comes up out of there. Again, awesome looking for the scales and all of that. Now the head sculpt again, we'll try to get some more close-ups of that. There you go. The camera has zoomed in. We got some Marvel Legends back there helping us be a backdrop, but awesome looking figure, guys. I got to say, I wish it was a little bit more posable. I wish he's a little more better balanced when he had both neck pieces on there. But again, it's not enough for me to say not to buy the figure, but it did take out some of the fun out of it, in my opinion, messing around with it. But do I think these are two solid entries in the Turtles of Grayskull? Yes, I do. Again, hopefully you get these things. You will like them, and they'll be valuable additions to your collection. But I believe that is going to do it for my little review here. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Turn on your bell for notifications. Follow me on Instagram and all the stuff we mentioned earlier. And I am signing out for now. Going to find a place on the shelf for Donnie and for Rattlor, and I'll see you again the next time the man reviews.